What is happening today, guys? We are currently headed to drop off some money at the bank, and then I'm going to do the full review of this car that I promised I would do in an earlier video. Just basically going to cover all the details, how much I paid for this car, and what the plan is in the future for it. It should be a lot of fun, and I hope you all enjoy it. So as I promised you guys a couple days ago, I said we'd do a full review of the 2015 Ford Mustang, which is what we are about to start right now. This one has 42,000 miles on it. I bought it at 40,000, so I've already put 2,000 miles or so on the car. It has been really fun to drive. I can say from first-hand experience, this is the 6-speed manual GT Premium, so that means that it has the performance package on it, which means that it has the Brembo brakes, it has a sports exhaust, and some trim pieces to make it look a bit nicer. On the inside, it has vacuum gauges and oil pressure gauges that really help you as you're trying to get the most performance out of your car. So that's stuff that comes standard on the GT Premium. Some things I've really enjoyed about this car so far are just little touches, little things that they thought, this will make this car pop and look a lot nicer and be a lot nicer to drive. From the black rims on the black setup of this car to at night, there is a Mustang on the ground that is projected there when you open up the door. Moving towards the back of the car here, you can definitely see that they've tried to stay with that standard Mustang shape, which this one, I have to say, looks really nice. It took me a while to come around to the wider body style that they were going with, but I have to say that it's grown on me. I know not everyone is a fan of that big back end on that car, but I've really enjoyed it's grown on me. I can say that. At first I did not like it. I was like, it's too fat, who would want this? But now I just love it. It's got this muscular look to the car now, and it's quintessentially Mustang. So my dad was complaining about this part of the Mustang, but I really enjoy it. He liked the standard 4 round lights that were on the front of all of the Mustangs. His has that one, but I like that they switched out this light for the 3 stripe lights there. It just gives it this look of aggressiveness that I really like, while still being functional. This it's got this look of I am here and I am a presence to be reckoned with. Opening up the hood here, you can see that there has been no modifications to this car at all. They did a pretty good job with this interior. My only complaint is this and that. I understand why they have them there, but they're just ugly. Oh, and this one down here. If I had put so much time and effort into making everything else in here look as good as it does, those would be the first things I'd be getting rid of, is that really ugly coolant tank there and the, all of this other stuff in here. It just doesn't look good, and it detracts when you open up the hood. As you can see, it has the standard air intake here. That might be changing here pretty soon. Teaser. It is the 5.0 V8 Mustang. This is a absolutely powerful engine. I've so far really enjoyed it, and I'm going to see how much power we can get out of this. Stock, when you get this, it has 425 horsepower at the crank, which I'm not sure exactly what that relates to in the rear, but I will post that on the video to let you guys know. It has been driven 40,000 miles since the car was purchased, so it probably has lost a few horses through the years, but through the work that I'm going to do to it, it should get some of those horses back and maybe get a few more. one of the things I'm planning on doing with this Mustang is I want to collect as many YouTubers' signatures as I can. So far I have Guitarmageddon Z01, Nick, and I have It's Just a Six, Gavin's signatures. What I'd like to do is get this entire front section just covered in signatures, and I'm going to save this section right here for Jay Leno. Jay Leno is probably the biggest car guy out there, and it would be an absolute honor to get his signature on this car. But I've got quite a ways to go, and not every signature I'm going to collect is going to be a car guy. Some of them just might be YouTubers that I really respect, and I've watched a lot of their videos. The majority are going to be car guys. I would like to, probably right here, I'd like to get Speed Street 717. And get his signature on there. I'd like to get Send It Steve. I'd like to get Diablo Formula Racing's, and as many other signatures as I can get on this car. I think that it would really be cool. Another one that I would really enjoy getting would be Jeremy Clarkson, Richard Hammond, and James May's signatures on this car. I don't know if that one will ever happen. That really does seem like a pipe dream, but one could always hope. And if you guys get behind me and, maybe we can get the word out there, maybe we can make this happen and get all these signatures on this car and be just a really cool piece. At which point I'll get this X-Felled so that none of these signatures can get smeared right now. You can already see on this one somebody touched it, and I nearly had to kill them for it. But other than that, this interior bay here has not had anything changed on it. But it's not going to stay that way for long. So part of the performance pack as well is the Toyo Performance tires. These are still street tires, but they're a bit wider and they got a bit more grip to them. And so far they've been absolutely amazing tires. I've really enjoyed them. I am planning on getting some different rims and drag slicks, so that if we ever go back to the drag strip again, like we did in one of my previous videos, then we can stand a better chance to get more grip on the road, because I'm really not happy with the amount of grip that I have right now. A fun thing that they're doing with, I guess, a lot of newer cars, I didn't know this had it till I opened it up to fill it up with gas. There is no actual gas cap. You just push that in, and that is how it fills with gas. A nice part about this car is the absolutely huge trunk that it has in there. You can see how much stuff I have in there, and I still have more room for stuff. A lot of times with sports cars, they sacrifice the trunk space and just say, you know what, you don't need it. It's a performance car, so you don't need to have any trunk, and they'll put either a giant spare tire back there, or they'll just not give you any space and make a little bit more room in the back seat where nobody's going to be sitting anyway. As we can see here, we have the Racing by Borla exhaust on this car. This is part of the performance pack for the Mustang. So far, I've really enjoyed it, but I don't know. It just doesn't quite have the sound that I'm looking for. So I will be, at some point, looking for a new exhaust for this car. Any suggestions would be accepted. Comment down below and let me know what you think. Once we move to the interior of this car, you can see that it is a 6-speed manual that I have in here because of the 3 different ones down there. Very beautiful interior. They did a lot of good work with this. The leather is very comfortable and soft. I like that this Mustang thing lights up at night. When you open up the door, just another nice part about it. You can move the seat up and down, and where that pushes you in the back here. The only part I will say is that it is still a, move by hand, the seat back and forward, which I understand why they did it. It just seems a bit dumb to me. The presets for your seats are on here on the door, which I found interesting. Here's your light connection, or your light controls are right here. One annoying part about this car is that this bit rattles when you drive. Not all the time and not very loudly, but just enough that you hear it and it's annoying. And I don't, it's one of those things, it's like, you were doing so well, and then you let me down, Ford. But if that's the only complaint I have about this car, then you know what? I think the car is totally worth it, and that is not going to detract from how nice this car is. Looking at the back seat, you can see that it is basically non-existent. I really don't think anyone is going to be sitting in the back of this car unless it is like a child or a really, really short person. It's just not quite feasible. You can, according to this, put in a booster seat for kids. So that's nice. You can see the little hookups up above there for them. So everyone that says, oh, as soon as you get married and have kids, you have to sell that car because you can't put any kids in it, they're wrong. You can, and I will figure it out. So take that, all of you haters. Looking up at the console here, you can see I have my oil pressure gauge and my vacuum gauge over here, as well as my command console. Another small complaint I have about this car is Microsoft Sync. It is probably the dumbest program I've ever run into, particularly Microsoft Sync 2, which is what they had on the 2015 Mustangs. In 2016 Mustangs, they moved over to Microsoft Sync 3, and that gave you the ability to change out a couple parts, download something, and get Apple CarPlay in your car, which is so much better. Unfortunately, I don't have that. So I'm going to, at some point, have to get the console in here swapped over to a Sync 3, then change out a little box right in here to get Apple CarPlay, which is, you know, a bit annoying. I wish that they had thought about that when they were making this car. Right here you see all of your air conditioning stuff right here. I've got my different modes for when I'm driving, which are Drive, Sport Plus, Track Mode, and Wet and Cold Mode. Or Wet and Snow Mode, which lowers the RPM of your car and softens up the suspension, which makes it a lot better for driving in snow or wet conditions. You know, makes it not as twitchy. You got your traction control, you've got your hazard lights, and obviously your start button. These are your radio controls to skip songs, turn the radio off, the volume, and all of that. Obviously, we got our shifter here and the emergency brake. Pretty simple setup in here overall. One nice part, we got a nice large-ish space in here in the glove box. But there's also another one right here. So you can keep your registration up there, and if somebody opened it up, they wouldn't see it right away, and there's a chance that they might miss it. Also, you can lock it if you want to. If I had any other gripes with the car, the only thing I would say is that the gas tank in it is way too small. It is only 15 gallons, which in a car that gets, you know, about 15 miles to the gallon is not much. You run out of gas all the time, and I'm constantly filling up. There's not really a lot I'm sure that they could do about it. You know, maybe sacrifice a little bit of the trunk space and get a slightly bigger gas tank. But that would be my only gripe about this car right now. You know, other than, you know, I got my gas tank issue, that little bit that rattles, and Microsoft Sync 2, which is just stupid. But as far as like the actual driving of the car, performance, the manual, all of that, it's a great car, and I really wouldn't trade it right now for anything unless you were offering me like a McLaren or Ferrari, in which case I'd turn around and sell that because I can't afford that car. But as far as what this car is, I've really, really enjoyed it, and we're going to take it for a little bit of a drive now. I have no idea what this even is. It says Pontiac on the front of it, but I don't know if I've ever seen this one. Comment below if you know what it is. I will say areas in this car that'll start to get you is driving in traffic. Right now I'm caught in stop and go traffic on a back road here with some of the dumbest drivers in all of history, you know, and I'm having to basically ride first and hope that I don't stall out. This guy had nobody in front of him and was just sitting there until I came to a complete stop. Then he went. Like, seriously, dude? You're not my conscience. Move. Now we're out of a bit of the traffic, and it's opened right up. It's a great car to drive again. You know, it's not really meant for a lot of start and stop, start and stop, start and stop. So if you, like, live in a city or you're driving into a city oftentimes and you're going to be stuck in rush hour traffic, I would not suggest buying this car. I would suggest buying the automatic version of this car, which is, you know, much better for situations like that. I would say it's not as much fun to drive on a day-to-day basis. You know, I love just driving around in a low gear and hearing that noise as it's going. But, you know, if you're in a situation where, you know, driving a manual just doesn't make a whole lot of sense, then, you know, get the automatic. I can attest to the fact that the automatic is technically faster off the line than this one. I raced one a couple times recently, and he whooped my butt every time. Stock, just like I am. So, you know, it's not that he was, well, he was probably better than I was, definitely, you know, but, you know, the car held no advantage, but it would jump forward every time, you know, off the line, and there was no catching it. I did not have enough speed in this car to catch up to him, because really, we're just as fast, and whoever gets off the line first is gonna be the winner. That's just, you know, basic science of it all. So if you're looking just to be faster than everybody else, the automatic is probably the way to go, unless you plan on doing a lot of mods to your car, in which case you want the manual, because the manual transmission is a lot tougher than the automatic transmission. This light is my nemesis. So guys, that should more or less wrap up my review video on the 2015 GT Premium Mustang. If you guys want to see more of these reviews on the channel, there's a lot more cars that I'd like to review going forward. I have a 2006 GT Mustang that I have access to, a Jeep Wrangler. There's a Corvette down the street that I'd really like to talk to the guy about. Just let me know, and we could probably get that done. All right. Anyway, y'all have a good day, a good evening, whatever time of day it is for you. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, put a like on this video, and comment down below anything else you'd like to see me do in the future here. And have a good one. When we got home, there are 2 packages waiting here. That one is going to wait for a later video, but this one I'm going to open up right now. This is a car cover I got for the Mustang so that I don't have to clean the car as much, because being a black car, it is constantly dirty.